Hey everybody, Tim here with Ethos Car Care, and today I'm going to take you through all the steps to ceramic coat your car. So the first thing you need to do when you're looking to ceramic coat your car is to make sure you have the right equipment. Now that doesn't mean you need to go out and buy a bunch of machinery, a bunch of polishers, that kind of thing. But you want to make sure that you have a ceramic coating, that you have a applicator pad of some kind, microfiber towels, a clay bar, and some form of decontamination spray as well to use before the coating. So once you have your checklist of items, which we'll definitely include in the description of this video, you can start the process. Now the first step of the process is going to be cleaning your car. That just means taking it through a car wash, whether that's a hand wash, a waterless wash. You just basically want to get the car as clean as possible, remove any contaminants, any dust, debris, that kind of thing. And it's going to take us to our next step, which is going to be clay bar in your car. So the reason why we want to use a clay bar is, even though the car has been washed, the car is clean, it still has contaminants. You may feel them on the surface. You may be able to feel a grittiness on the car. Those would be the contaminants that you can't remove from a car wash that your clay bar is going to need to remove. So we'll go ahead and clay bar this hood as the first step of the process here. We're using our paint putty clay bar with our Finish Shine detail spray. Now the clay bar is a synthetic clay material that is a sticky putty type substance. This is what's actually sticking to the paint and removing the contaminants. As you can see, it picks up the contaminants from the surface. So we want to knead this up into a new section before we go and start the process here. We're going to grab our Finish Shine spray. This is a ceramic based detail spray, and we're going to use this as a lubricant. You don't want to use a clay bar on a surface that's dry. You want to have some lubrication, so that way you're not scratching the finish, and it's not going to work as well without lubrication. So I want to apply a nice fine mist here. I like working about half a hood size panel at a time to make sure I'm not overdoing it. Just spray some here on the clay bar, and what we're going to do, we're going to get a nice flat area here in the clay bar, and we're just going to start cleaning the surface. Now we're going to go back and forth, up and down, or we can go side to side. We don't want to do little circle marks because it's not as efficient, as well as you can also scratch the finish that way. So we're going to be thorough, make sure that we get every square inch. We don't want to miss a spot, which can affect the coating application. And we want to use medium pressure, 5 to 6 pounds of pressure. You don't want to press too hard and you don't want to go too light, so a good in between. If you see you're going through an area and it starts to kind of stick or starts to dry up, just grab some more detail spray. So you want to make sure you have lubrication through the whole process. We don't like friction here. So now that I'm confident that this side of the hood's done, we take our waffle weave drying towel here, and we're just gonna wipe up everything that we just did. I'm not really worried about getting all of the streaks right now. This is just to make sure that we get a good amount of the detail spray off here. So we're gonna come back an additional step and remove all the contaminants. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Our Finish Shine, nice even coat. I'm gonna take the clay bar and actually knead it to a new area because that picked up some contaminants that are now in this clay bar. So I wanna make sure we got a clean, fresh side that we're starting with. A little more Finish Shine in here. We're gonna start overlapping just a little bit from where we left off on that side and work our way to the edge. Now this process is a little time consuming to do right, but it shouldn't take you hours to do so. Unless you have a really contaminated car where you can actually feel that you are going over the surface, and sometimes it needs more than one go. So you may clay bar or surface and still feel some contaminants. It just means that you have to go over it again, which is okay. But you should be able to get this process done in no more than 30, 45 minutes for your whole vehicle. So it should move pretty quick. As you can see, I got this whole half of the side done. I'm gonna take our waffle weave here, and we're just gonna wipe off the detail spray. All right, now that your car has been washed and cleaned and clay barred, step 3, which is not necessary for every single vehicle, but some vehicles out there have sore marks or scratches. So step 3 would be polishing. And that means taking a machine polisher or even hand polishing out the swirl marks and scratches of your finish. Because if you do ceramic coat your car, you don't want to lock in those defects, which you will with the ceramic coating. So if your car does have swirl marks, it's a used car, a dark color that doesn't really look the best when you're looking at it in the sunlight, you would want to do a polishing process. Since this car is fairly new, its paint's already in good condition, we just basically move on to our next step, which is preparing to apply that ceramic coating, which we're going to show here in a second. So step number 4 is to be using some form of decontamination spray. For me, I'm using Ethos Detox. Works really well in removing contaminants that would be left behind in the clay process we just did. If there's wax residues or polish residues from the polishing process, I want to use this to make sure you get a proper bond on the coating with the vehicle. So this is going to give you that effect. So this is very simple to use. Basically spray on the same coverage area that you use to prep the car. I'm on a good even coat. We're going to take a microfiber towel here, and all we're going to do is just wipe it off. So this is an isopropyl based cleaner. That's going to remove any of those extra residues or contaminants from the finish and get you the best bond for your ceramic coating. Now, when you're ceramic coating your car, especially if you're a beginner, the most important process is what we're doing right now, is the prep process. The application, once everything's prepped out properly, the application is the easiest part. Just making sure you're applying the product, but this is really where you want to pay attention, take your time, you're doing the proper steps to make sure that you're getting the car as clean as possible. You know, just like if you're painting a fence, and you have old paint on there that's falling off and flaking off, you're not going to throw another coat on there. You want to make sure you're removing all of that old, cruddy paint off the finish to make sure you get a nice even coat that looks great and lasts for years to come. All right, so now for the final step, and that's to be applying your ceramic coating. Now all the prep work's done, like I said before, that's the most important process here. We want to make sure the car is as clean as possible, that you've gone through and decontaminated with a clay bar, you've polished the car if necessary, you use some form of decontamination spray like our Ethos Detox. And now you want to make sure that you're going to be applying the car. I like using gloves. There's 2 reasons I like using gloves. The first is I went through all the trouble to make sure the car is as clean as possible. I don't want to get anything from my hands, oils from my skin on the car, which could affect the bond of the coating. And secondly, it's just safer. I don't want to get the ceramic coating on my hands. I just want to make sure there's a barrier between myself and the chemical. It's not that it's toxic, but you just want to be safe. So put some gloves on here, and we're going to be applying the ceramic coating here on the hood. I'll show you exactly how to do so, and then we're going to basically follow that entire process across the rest of the vehicle. So I've got a pile here of microfiber towels. I like having 2 towels set aside before I start coating, so I don't have to go searching for something. I want to be fully prepared as the coating starts going on the finish, because you do have a window you have to work in before the coating starts to cure and you have to wipe off. So to start, I have 1 towel for initial removal and a 2nd towel for final removal, and I'll show you here in a second what I mean by that. I'm going to put those off on the side so I'm all ready. I'm going to grab a applicator pad. These are our Ethos microfiber applicator pads. This does actually have a membrane under the fibers here so that you get as optimal amount of coating on the finish as possible. It doesn't soak in here too much, you don't waste product. So that's something we made sure to apply to the applicator. We're going to take a ceramic coating here and start applying. Now for the first time that you're priming the applicator, you want to apply a little bit more product. This just ensures that you're getting even coverage, not much more than 10-15 drops on the applicator. And we're going to start here from the center and work our way inwards. If you're starting on at the top of your vehicle that has a painted roof, I usually start working from the top surfaces down, which is why we're doing the hood here before I do the fenders. If I were to do the fenders first and apply a fresh coating, then move on to the hood, I have a chance of actually leaning into my fresh coating I just applied. So just one train of thought, work from the top down, systematically around the vehicle. So we're going to take our applicator here and straight line motions. We're going to go all the way my full wingspan back and forth. And this we're doing overlapping strokes, just like we're painting here. We're going to make sure you get about even coverage, overlap, back and forth. And when I can see the rainbow effect start to diminish a little bit, it means I'm running out of coating. Apply just a little bit more here. And do the same thing to a fresh section. Back and forth. Again, I'm using my light, my overhead light, my ambient lighting to make sure, I missed a little bit of a spot here actually. So I can go back and touch up any spots that may be missing coating. Just like the prep process here, this is a very important process to make sure that you're getting even coverage with enough coating. A little bit more here on the bottom half. We're gonna go back and forth. And then just to make sure we get a nice even coat, go side to side here. And you can see this coating already starting to flash away. This is the solvents in the coating reacting with the atmosphere to help allow the ceramic ingredients in here bond to the finish. I'm looking for a nice uniform flashing, uniform application of the coating, and that's gonna give me an idea of when the coating's ready to be wiped off. Now, each product's gonna have a different flash time. Some products can be as long as 10 to 15 minutes. Some ceramic coatings can be as quick as a minute. So do you want to read the instructions, make sure you're following things like the manufacturer recommends. This product has about a 3 to 5 minute flash time, so I know I have a little more leniency in terms of coverage area, so I can do about the full hood with this one product before I have to wipe off. Some products you may have to do a smaller section. So read the instructions, make sure you follow what the manufacturer recommends. All right, so now that I've applied the coating, we're gonna start removal. The coating's flashed. I can see what looks like the coating solvents have been flashed away, so I know it is ready to be removed. Take our first wipe off towel, and we're just gonna lightly buff away the coating, just like we would if we're buffing away a polish or wax. We don't wanna use a ton of pressure. We just want to knock down that initial coating membrane. You can notice when the towel starts getting a little saturated on one side, just gonna flip it over. Just gonna lightly buff, lightly polish away this coating residue. And I know that that first layer has been removed. I'm gonna take our second wipe off towel, put the first one away, and we're just gonna do a final buff. We're gonna make sure that we're not missing any coating. We also wanna make sure that our first towel doesn't leave any push marks. So since this is actually picking up the coating on the towel here, sometimes if you're pushing the coating, you can leave a little like stop mark where the coating builds up. We wanna follow up with this one and make sure we don't leave any residue anywhere, because that could cause what's known as a high spot. And a high spot is just a buildup of the ceramic coating. So we leave that high spot behind, the ceramic coating actually will harden, and you'll get those where it's really hard to remove them. You have to polish them away or compound them away, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that when we're done with this vehicle, everything looks great, everything's super shiny, and you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about going back and touching things up. So another step of the process, you just want to pay attention. You want to make sure that you're being really vigilant. Everywhere this towel goes, everywhere your applicator goes, you want to double check with the light, with the overheads and the ambient to make sure that you're not leaving any remnants behind. So now that I know I'm satisfied with this area, I'm going to walk around, again, just double checking, making sure I actually see a little bit right here that I missed. So we're going to wipe it down. So just double checking from different angles. I'm happy with how this side turned out, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the passenger side. Keep in mind, this is my final wipe-off towel. This is my initial wipe-off towel. I don't want to get them mixed up because this is gonna have more of the coating in it than my final wipe-off. So I'm gonna put this one on top and this one on the bottom, so I know to reach for this one first. I'm gonna repeat the process here. Apply coating here on the applicator. I'm gonna go a little bit over half again on this side, just to make sure I have even coverage. I'm just gonna follow the body lines here. I'm not gonna go over halfway onto a fender. I'm not gonna try to get part of my A-pillar. I'm just gonna border in this entire hood and then work my way around from panel to panel. That way, again, I know what my work area is. I know exactly what my coverage is, so I'm not leaving behind some remnants on a panel that I just touched. So I am being deliberate with how I'm applying it. I got my little border section, and here I am. I'm just gonna fill it in. Back and forth, again, not doing circles. Looking for any maybe thin areas. I can see a little spot here in the middle that is a little bit thin. Should apply some more coating on here. I got plenty in this bottle. I know this bottle is going to do this car and then some, so I'm just going to be diligent and get it while I'm at it. So I know that section's good to go. Let it start to cure. A little bit more coating on the applicator here. I'm going to finish up this part of the hood. And as you can see, I overlapped. Again, I want to make sure that I'm not butting up two sides of the coating and potentially missing a spot. And then when I'm going to remove the coating, I'm actually pushing the coating and swiping up. I'm not stopping and leaving the coating and then lifting off the surface, because this is going to leave a really saturated area coating, which could also cause a high spot. So I am bordering the coating, and when I'm going to lift it up, I'm finishing off that section. Just another thing I like to do to make sure that I'm not leaving a big amount of coating on the surface that both A, can leave a high spot, and B, is just to make it harder for me to remove. So I'm keeping those things in mind all as I'm applying the coating here to the surface. All right, now that I'm seeing the coating start to flash, I'm gonna actually start wiping off here. Take our #1 towel, initial wipe off towel, and do the same process. Just little buffing, level off that initial thickness of that coating. Again, flipping the new sides as I see it starting to smear. And I'm just light pressure here. Don't need anything too heavy, don't need to muscle this process. The coating should not be hard to remove. If the coating is extra sticky or it feels gritty, you've waited too long to wipe off. If the coating is very, very smeary to where you can't get it to buff, you're wiping off a little too soon. So the coating should wipe off very cleanly. You should be able to swipe once and most of the coating comes off, and swipe again and get the residual. If you're really having to fight it, do consult your instruction manual to make sure you're waiting long enough, or possibly you've been waiting too long to wipe off. So again, this first wipe is just an initial wipe down. I'm not worried about getting all these remnants of streaks just yet. We're gonna take our second wipe off towel here, and we're gonna level down these streaks. We're gonna make sure that this is our final inspection, our final touches, or final detail, that we're gonna get all the remnants of coating all around the borders and everything else to make sure that we're satisfied. Again, I'm gonna do a quick walk around from another side, another set of lighting to make sure everything looks good. I don't see anything from this side. I think we're good. We're good to go now on the hood. It's been fully coated. We're to repeat this exact process that we did on the hood here on the rest of the vehicle. Again, working from the top surfaces on the way down. Like I said, the roof, the hood first. I would work on the door panels or the fenders and work my way from the highest parts to the lowest parts of the car and finish up with the rocker panels or finish up with the lower fascia of the vehicle. So if you did leave a high spot, this is what it would look like. Basically a darker area of the coating that you left behind that you didn't wipe off completely. Don't freak out. This is why we do our final checks for a panel, or if we did the entire car, we do want to do one final check and make sure that we don't see anything like this, because this can be saved. It can be fixed really easily if you catch it soon enough. If I were to leave this for a day or a week or a month, it's gonna be much harder to fix, but it's only been a couple hours here. I'm pretty sure that I can remove this in almost 10 seconds or less, and I'll show you here. So I can see the high spot, pretty decent size here in the middle of the hood. I tried to wipe it off. It's not really removing on its own. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take an applicator, I'm gonna take the coating and just reapply and try to reactivate this high spot. Just a little bit of coating on there. And I'm just basically gonna try to use the solvents in the coating and apply a little bit more pressure than when I was trying to apply the coating, and go back and forth. And what we're trying to do is basically reactivate the ceramic so that when I go and remove what I just applied here, I can wipe off the high spot, as well as ensure that this area is also ceramic coated at the same time. If this doesn't work, I have to come back with either a light polish or a compound and level off that ceramic coating, and then repeat all my prep steps again, decontamination spray, and reapply. This is why I do like doing a final check, to make sure if I do have a high spot, I can catch it quick, and it's a very, very simple fix. Take our wipe off towel here and just lightly remove, lightly buff away. And as you can see, I caught the high spot just in time. I was able to remove it with just the ceramic coating applicator. Well, there you have it, guys. Your ceramic coating process from start to finish, whether you're a beginner, advanced, or intermediate, the process will be the same for everybody. Wash your car, we prep it with a clay bar, we do a light polish if necessary, decontamination spray, and apply the ceramic coating. As you can see, you get many years of protection out of this product. Not something to be intimidated by. Anyone can do it. We'll show you how to fix a high spot if that comes up. So you now have all the tools and all the experience you need to apply a ceramic coating to your car. So if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos from our channel. If you have any comments or questions about your application process, leave them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them. Until the next time, thanks for watching.